All right. Hello to after the extensive. I know that we may be a little late, but so what? What are you doing extra? You're learning. Great teaching sessions. I mean, this is phenomenal. I mean, those our circle of audience, I at least got 12 texts in last 2 hours that how high level talks they are and really talking about the future. With that note, we are ready to put another case of the live case. We felt that any meeting cannot be complete without live cases. First case we did with the sapien in a difficult anatomy, particularly bicuspid aortic valve and dilated aortic annulus and root. And this case is the of evolute valve, which has its own issues in terms of calcifications, and so we'll discuss. Every team member remains the same, except change of Sahil Khera or another junior structural attending, associate director of the structural interventional program here, and ready to start presentation of case number 2. Let's start the slides, please. The disclosures remain the same, nothing much change, although Dangus is a little remote, will be moderating from there with help of Roxana. I really thank both of them. This is the 91-year-old patient who has presented with progressive angina and of course on good medical therapy, multiple other medical problems, but nothing unusual, but it has a normal sinus rhythm with right bundle branch block and left anterior fascicular block. So that's very important with a PR interval of 142. This kind of case, when you're doing the valve and particularly the evolute core valve, that in terms of leaving the pacemaker compared to with the sapien, we take it out. In these cases, we do leave it for 24, 48 hours because of the baseline bundle issue. Now, the patient also has a severe aortic stenosis, and we will ask now Stam to just show live echo.
Yes, good afternoon again. This is parasternal long axis view. You can see the patient has normal LV function. You can see the thickened, calcified, and decreased mobility of the aortic valve leaflets, and also the calcium in the LVOT, the significant calcium in the LVOT. This zoom image of, again, the long axis parasternal view to appreciate the calcium in the aortomatral cortin. That is very important to know ahead of this case. The patient also has about moderate aortic regurgitation. This is the X-plane of the long axis view. As you can see, significantly decreased mobility of the leaflets with severe calcification and decreased mobility. And again, about moderate, most likely moderate aortic regurgitation. This is four-chamber view, again, normal LV, normal RV function. And you can appreciate the calcium, again, in the aortomatral cortin. And this is a better view for that, again, about moderate AI. And you can see here the subvalvular LVOT, the LVOT very calcified, important for this case. No pericardial effusion, again, important to know. And these are the gradients, max gradient of 54, mean gradient 32, aortic valve area 0.5 centimeter squares, critical aortic stenosis is also, the SVI is 32, so low flow, low gradient aortic stenosis. The pressure half time is aortic regurgitation. And this subcostal view to appreciate, again, no pericardial effusion, and also the interatrial septum that is because of the significant calcium in the LVOT. Dr. Sharma, back to you.
Perfect. Well, go back to the slides now. So we just go
Stan,
to
can
our
I ask you a question? Stan, I have a question for you. You see some septal hypertrophy there. Does that bother you at all? And I see a lot of MAC also. Does that bother you at all? Can you just comment on those two things? Vino.
Yes, great to hear from you, Vino, and good to see you to participate in this meeting. And
Thank you.
yes, and I wanted to say that the base LV bulge is a little bit worrisome, as you know, for a risk of embolization. So yeah, that's one thing that is very important, and you picked up on it. And the MAC only, as I say, is on the anterior side because of the risk of rupture. So all these are significant. That's why we show this case for these learning points. So very important observation, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we can go back to, I think there is some, back to the slides now. Go go to the next level, which will be our CT scan evaluation of this particular case, and already has been emphasized about the LVOT calcium. Okay, so want to comment on
Sure. Yeah. So you can see this is a severe annular and LVOT calcification, very small LVOT. You can see the annulus itself is around 428, 74.5, but look at the LVOT, 321, 65.5. So, you know, we're going to talk about balloon expanding versus self-expanding, but certainly this could be a pretty high risk of annular injury if you choose a balloon expandable, not because of the annulus per se, but the LVOT. Next slide.
And those are two nodules of calcium in the LVOT. And it's short,
and it's on a short axis as well.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Okay.
So you can see it's a bit of a large root, sinotubular junction and ST and sinodorsal are very large. Left main height is very generous, so we're not going to worry about coronary issues here. Next slide. And Sahil, you want to talk about access?
Yeah, access is, I think it's relatively straightforward. There's no calcium in either of the common femoral arteries. There is some tortuosity in the abdominal aorta, but I think it's easily navigable at this point.
Okay. And so sentinel point of view?
Sentinel is, there's some tortuosity of the carotid, but otherwise straightforward.
And did we do a sentinel already?
Yes, we have a sentinel.
Okay, so this case also we had sentinel. As you said, that we make a sentinel as a default. And if the sentinel is not used, I know there has been a lot of pro and con, whether should you use sentinel in all cases or not. But if we do write it actually in the cath report that why sentinel device was not used. Yeah. So then this is from the valve selection point of view, which is Evolute R Pro Plus. And this becomes with the annulus. And so it fits into the category of the 29 millimeter. Right? Everybody agrees on that?
Yes.
Good.
Dr.
And
Sharma,
so we are ready to start here.
Second, I know.
Yep.
Can we stop for a second because you have some of the
Sure.
experts here, and it would be great.
Yes.
You know, Howie, you're the PI, you're the study chair for SMART. Does this patient fit into the SMART trial? And would anyone randomize a patient like this to a SAPIEN device?
So I think theoretically this patient could fit into the trial, but I think the concerns that you've raised already about the LV outflow tract calcium makes this patient less desirable for a balloon expandable valve. And so I think this is a better chosen Evolute patient. I also think we don't have to be quite as concerned about a small annulus in a 91-year-old patient. We're not looking at long-term hemodynamic durability of the prosthesis in the same way we might in a low-risk 70-year-old. The last thing I would just add, it's between a 29 and a 26. The LV outflow tract is smaller than the annulus. The annular perimeter would say 29, but the LV outflow tract with the calcium might say 26, and you might have some trouble landing the 29 as high as you would like. And in this case, you want to be as high as possible to avoid the pacemaker risk. This is a real cusp overlap, careful, high placement as best you can to avoid pacemaker afterwards.
So let's talk about that because many people are not clear about this cusp overlap. So who wants to explain it really well?
We have a slide that
Or
way.
George, do you have a slide on that?
We have a slide. Can we go to the slides and show the cusp overlap slide because we anticipated this discussion coming up. Can we see the slide, please, regarding the cusp over? There's some technical detailed slides that we need to show. That's going to come up during the discussion. This is a patient selection. Very good. Next slide.
Yeah. No, but did we add to the slide? Unless it was separately out. If you have it, George, you need to share your screen. If you have, because unless it was given to them.
I asked them to add it to the end of this presentation. Anyhow, this wasn't done. So why don't we ask Dr. Grube the experience from Europe regarding the cusp overlap projection, and we're gonna see it actually displayed in this case live.
Can you show that?
Thank you very much.
Can you show the aortogram? I'll explain.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just to say, since we don't have the slide, let's go to the aortogram if we can show based on that aortogram here. Yeah, this
exactly.
Otherwise, I'll say.
Can you let Dr. Grube speak first, and then Dr. Kinney will explain it. Dr. Grube goes first.
Yeah, please show the angiogram while he's speaking.
Basically, you overlay the two cusps
and leave the non-coronary in order to expose the membranous septum. So that's basically the double S curve that has been promoted.
Stop
But
it.
importantly,
So you can
there's
show
a
somewhere.
change in the delivery of the core valve. When we started it, we went into the ventricle, across the valve, and pulled the valve back. We don't do this anymore. We stay at the middle of the pigtail and then let the valve go down so it doesn't touch it doesn't get in contact with the conductor system. That's the essential.
Eberhard, I wish I could hug you again, my friend. It's David Wood. Look at that background. Oh my goodness. Wow.
My castle.
The only thing I would add, George, is obviously this patient, because of their age, but a lot of things that come up in the heart team meeting, pre-existing right bundle branch block, definitely guides myself and John for which THV platform, redo as far as what's the strategy for our redo here, less important given the age, but those are the other things we'd be chatting about. The subalveolar calcification, again, we can chat about how that would influence our THV selection. Thanks.
So I'm curious for David. David, would you have chosen a self-expanding or a balloon expandable valve for this? Looking at the LVOT calcium and looking at the septal hypertrophy.
Yeah, we would just do a bespoke balloon expandable most likely, but we use cusp overlap as well. We've been using the DART, and we've actually been very impressed with the pacemaker rates. So I think hopefully we're going to see a beautiful example of that today.
Yeah.
But again, we also have access to some valves that aren't yet available that might be perfect for this situation. So there you go.
Great. Let's proceed on how to use it practically, Dr. Keating, Dr. Sharon.
Yeah. So let me explain to you. So you got to take the angiogram to see this cusp overlap view. I think you can see that the catheter is actually in the right cusp. So what you see here is the right and the left cusp is overlapping with each other, and the non-coronary is, you see it without the pigtail. So we also know the non-coronary cusp is the lowest. So that is why when we start, once we go up, you'll see how we are going to start releasing. We'll start releasing in this cusp overlap view. So the valve is just at the cusp of the non-coronary, which is the lowest. So you don't want to go lower than that. And then we will go to the LAO view just to confirm everything is okay. And that's the time we will release it. And that is how we practically do that.
Okay, good. Let's start now. What did you do so far?
Kenny, I have a question.
We have crossed.
Excellent.
Yeah. Kenny, I want a question. So
Yeah.
when we do the cusp overlap, I use cusp overlap in every case, but I put the pigtail in the non-coronary cusp. And you don't want to put the pigtail in the
No. What? When we're deploying, of course, we will place it in the non-coronary. Yes.
I got it. You just want to show that. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
And,
Change
and by the way, David, I would definitely prefer a self-expanding valve in this patient compared to a balloon expandable. For the reason
Actually,
said.
that is what we will be using in this
I
particular
wouldn't want
case.
to see
Actually, we have a
aortic
very,
rupture.
because we have very nice the review in the JAMA Cardiology a few months ago about the tower choice, and many of these points which we have discussed now, I'm so glad that we have made exactly on those lines the recommendation of using the balloon expandable or self-expanding, and of course we have the modified indication of the Lotus valve, which is no longer there. But clearly all these points are very important in discussion of in a valve selection. We all know that probably 80% of the time you can use any valve interchangeably, but in 20% based on the specific anatomy, the one anatomy will favor one valve versus other. So now we are ready for valve has been crossed with the AR2 and exchange with the exchange length wire. Now going with the pigtail so that it change it to Confida.
Yes,
Safari.
So we like to use Safari because of the small ventricle and the 91 euro especially. But I think one thing to make the point though is that this patient, as you have talked about, has a pre-existing right bundle branch block, left and ventral block. So any inducible heart block can happen once the wire is crossed. So we actually have Ramon here standing by the pacemaker just in case that we have to temporary pace because of inducible heart block from wire manipulation.
So the other thing that I've changed to, I'm not using Safari or Confida in cases, and they're just using the double curved Landerquist through a pigtail.
Landerquist.
Double curve Lundequist.
Lundequist in a 91 plus year old has been
No.
That's a California thing.
It's
George,
a double curve Lundequist through a
California
pigtail. It's very effective. It's very safe. It actually is more stable. It's stable also.
Hey George, that's the East Coast versus West Coast thing. We still using the
we need to finesse the valve into the LV.
Extensive.
Vito, you know how much I love you, but even we have been playing around with this double curved Lundequist in
That's
Vancouver,
a West,
and I must.
like I said, David, that's a West Coast thing.
No, Vino, I'm going to chime in from the East Coast and say we also like the double Lundequist.
But I think Eberhardt's point about the fact that we don't go in now deep and then pull back and come from above with that dart double curve, all those pieces, I think it's crucial for the operators listening to this call, Eberhardt.
It's a very stable wire, by the way.
Yeah,
it is, and it also.
I mean, you put it through a pigtail.
We use a lot more piecing now as well.
150
to the valve stable as we're inserting it.
Yeah, would you show the hemodynamics also, guys?
Wow, very resistant valve. You see, only in full deployment did it really give. Very important to have done this dilation.
So I was going to ask Dr. Sharma, what is it common, or Kimmy, Dr. Kimmy, how is this common for you to do BAVs, or is it just in this specific patient who has a lot of issues crossing the valve?
Yeah, I know that there are a lot of the whole camp using no BAV, and so we actually at Sinai still in the self-expanding. I would say almost 70% time we'll do BAV. In a balloon expandable, almost 90+%. We still use quite a bit of BAV pre. Idea is the same. Try to avoid the post. So post is, of course, with the balloon expandable, is very rare, like we did earlier case with additional CCs or dye. That's very little, but even with the Evolute and so, our post dilatation is it like in 20-30% range. Idea is the same. The pre, so I know this is always a question comes. Do you want to do a little more pre versus post, particularly with the self-expanding valve?
Okay, flush for the 3 o'clock.
What is your practice? I know that a lot of people have gone away from the BAV at all with the tower.
No, I think it's in the larger valves. I think it's better to do pre-AV. Otherwise, sometimes the Evolute folds.
Watch the wire is buckling too much.
Watch the wire. Yeah. You can see now that the head marker is in the outer curve of the descending. If you go, we're in the LAO view. So we're going to make sure that we don't.
Yeah, very interesting to see here how it passes clear of the sentinel.
What's the sentinel? Okay, good. And then you can see the head marker is now in the outer curve of the ascending and down to the annulus. Okay, so at this point,
did you attempt to do
the cast overlap view?
Did you attempt to do commissural alignment on the back table? Is that
very good question, David?
We inserted at 3 o'clock. Yes. That's exactly what we did, and you can see that.
Can we explain that a little bit, Gilbert?
That's an important concept, Gilbert, if you want to take us through that.
You directly. You can see the head marker is facing almost at yourself directly. That's how you know that you have.
Yeah, Gilbert, maybe you can talk
a little bit on this. Explain a little bit. This is a little bit high, very high end. Let me explain a little bit for the simple viewers. You're looking at the marker of the valve at the most distal part, the one that's inside the LV. And you can see that the marker is actually a double marker. And one of them is very dense and the other one is not so dense. And the one that's not so dense is not exactly all the way through. There seems to be a little bit of a filling defect,
I'm trying to get it to the other side.
For the right side of our screen as we watch. And this is a desirable, entry into this location. From practical point of view, you focus on the marker of the valve just below the pigtail.
I'm trying to reposition into the non.
Pigtail into the non, yes.
Yeah.
It's a small, it's a big root, but small annulus.
So sometimes we pull back to
bring the pigtail back.
And then put the wire.
We did few times.
A little bit more of a chance to talk about this alignment of the valve. And again, you see sometimes it doesn't work that well as here. You have to pull back the valve and then turn it into descending and reinsert it. And hopefully it will end up this way.
Okay, I think I'm not. No, I'll leave it here.
No,
I did.
No, you have to go to the left.
Okay, now.
Yep. That's fine.
I think I'm going to leave it little curled.
Position, but it did go. Yeah.
Yep.
And we're gonna do a test.
I mean,
here,
this actually, I have to say that the Zoom technology allows us to moderate from anywhere. Knowing that we got little delay,
Immediately,
George
moderate
has to
from
go to
anywhere.
Little bit down.
anywhere. So he's moderating from remotely from Queens.
Good, looks really good. Okay, all right. You can see that we're starting to deploy. We're
Okay,
a little bit above the calcium.
Okay, inject.
We just dive down slow.
Yeah,
Okay, 150.
Excellent alignment,
Wow,
and it's
right.
expected to come a little bit further down. So we're very
Okay,
good.
inject.
Can we see it?
It's coming down.
Okay,
The
inject.
problem is that the
Pigtail.
valve is the sheath is taking the pigtail
I'm
out.
going forward.
So we got to be injecting
Yeah.
higher volume here, please.
Good.
Oh, oh,
Other piece. Okay, deep.
Make sure you do a very
Good, good,
very
good.
powerful injection.
inject.
Yep.
Maybe a little.
So far, so good.
Okay,
far,
so
so
we're
good.
80%,
Excellent.
back up at 80.
80.
So now we go to the LAO view. Just make sure there's no parallax on the valve.
Please inject
We'll
with
mark
a
it- we'll
bigger
mark it just so that
power
everyone can
because
see.
the sheath is pulling the pigtail high.
And the pigtail is, yeah, pigtail is very high. Okay, so
Okay,
let's try
ready?
that. Let's see.
Inject with
Inject
more
again.
volume.
Inject.
Big volume, yeah, right there.
That looks really good.
I think we look good. What do you
Yes,
think,
very good.
everybody?
Looks
Looks
great.
good, that. Just like
Looks very nice.
no hot, little bit of okay,
That's okay. Go for it.
okay.
No, pigtail is already
Pigtail
up.
is already up. Okay,
Go. Pace again.
pace 150.
With a, yeah.
Ready? Ready?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
pacemaker at a high rate and a little bit of a push typically.
I'm
in these
holding it
cases.
neutral.
Go forward. Go forward.
Okay,
It's not a
forward.
realty.
Yeah,
Okay.
we should not be.
Good, good, good.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Oh.
Excellent. That's okay. All right. Well,
It
150.
moved up, the valve
120.
moved a little bit. Did
Yeah.
you see that, guys?
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah.
the wire, please.
Yeah.
The valve
Typical.
is just very borderline.
Yeah,
It's a
Okay.
zero deployment.
80?
It is okay.
Yeah,
it's a supraannular, but that's okay. No.
Yeah,
As
the
long as it's
valve
not
moved up
minus.
a little.
Yeah.
Basal hypertrophy.
not a
also.
little.
Yeah, it's
a lot.
it's a small LVOT. So let's do an aortogram now. And
And I think
check.
which was said about the basal hypertrophy has something to do with it also. The pushing
Okay,
up.
yeah,
Let's
but it's
approach,
okay.
let's approach
It's a
the
zero
pigtail
deployment.
and do a high power angiogram.
Inject.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, a little bit on the high on the non, but I think it was still on. It's still
Let's do the echo.
below the annulus. Now
No,
we,
either way, we are not going to post here.
yeah,
Okay.
but we should do a
Agree.
hemodynamics for now.
Good. Let's do the
Exchange
echo.
pigtail. No
I
pigtail.
don't
I'd like
do
to
anything.
see the
No,
echo.
exchange of the pigtail before we take it out. though.
Yep. You show the echo now,
Let's do
please.
the hemodynamics.
Put echo on the main screen. And the diastolic
Let's do
pressure was
pigtail.
always
Let's do
60,
pigtail
remains
exchange.
60. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, let's try to get the
And the
pigtail.
patient's
we
rhythm
don't pull the
also,
wire
like,
altogether.
like they were a little bit in heart.
Because
rate.
if it's high on one end, there may be significant PVL. We want to exclude that.
What heart rate are
No,
you
but
pacing
actually,
now?
it's not
Ramon?
high. It's a zero deployment. It's a very good deployment. I think it's very good. It's
Show
zero.
the echo, 3216.
Yeah.
And-
We'll show you.
And you
We'll
can
show
see
you.
by
yeah.
echo.
Okay.
It's excellent deployment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a
it's an
wire
excellent
still.
deployment.
The wires,
that's
I
the
think
wire
that
bias.
Like central AI over the wire.
Guys, this looks great.
Yeah.
Mile is good.
Let's go with
This
Apex.
also-
Okay, we are, you want a
Do
picture?
you want to
No,
take the,
pigtail.
Gilbert, do you want to take the
Inside.
wire out
Okay,
so that you
take it
can
out,
see
Yeah.
the,
Fluoro.
We are going to take the wire out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, take the wire. Yeah.
On fluoro.
Okay.
careful, careful, wire out.
Wire out.
Yeah,
You want
wire
wire
out.
out? Okay. All right,
Good.
good. Okay, no more
All
wire.
right.
Can you see apical
Let's
views?
see the
Apical
echo
views.
back again on the screen.
Apical, let's see apical.
We have the
Yeah,
D
apical
sign.
views, yeah.
Yeah, I have wire. You want a wire out?
Hmm?
Okay.
Okay, this is the apical views.
What's
You
that?
bring the aorta- Yeah, yeah,
I think
beautiful.
the echo,
What
Shows
we
the
want to
short-
do is
short
just get
axis.
final comments and go off to our next session, guys. So let's show
Yes,
us the
yes,
final thing.
yes.
Final comments. We're way behind.
I think the echo also shows you how difficult this would have
Exactly.
been with a balloon.
Dr.
scannable
Herman, any
device.
comment? We listen to you. Dr. Herman?
Yeah, I
So
was
there
going to
is,
say, it
there
shows
is
you
a
on the
strong-
echo, look at big,
A strong
big
mild
septal
paravalvular
knuckle,
leak.
how
Yes,
difficult
it's
it would have been
expected.
to deploy a balloon
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It would have
Pushed it
pushed it right up into the aorta.
Okay, let's measure
That's
the-
right.
That's
So
a
we
big
just left it
paravalvular
at
leak.
that place.
Yeah, diastolic
So the-
around 70 here.
Show the hemodynamics.
And again, remember this is
the
91
leak.
plus.
Yeah.
Compared to the previous patient, we wanted to be perfect with a no PVL. Here, as long as we don't create any damage, there is no
Yeah.
much
Yes.
gradient,
Yeah.
mild plus even 1 plus paravalvular leak, I think we'll accept it. Because valve may otherwise embolize.
Yeah.
I mean, move up.
Does everybody agree? I think I'm in agreement to that.
Yeah, I don't think you can post dilate with this.
No, you can't post dilate.
No,
I think
you
there is a bit of
can't
a,
afford the post dilation, and there were some issues regarding the annulus as well in the advanced stage, so we'll accept a small degree of PVL. Very well. I think it was very
So
well
this
done.
is going to be one of the endpoints you're going to be looking at, right, Didier and Howie, in the SMART trial. The PVL is important. What would you do if this patient was in the SMART trial, received this? Would you say that to get rid of all the PVL or to move ahead?
I don't think you can post dilate this patient because of this. It's such a high location, it would pop out. So your options are either to let it sit for a while and hope it gets a little better as the valve frame expands over time, or come back later and close it if you think it's more than moderate. But I don't think it's moderate, and I think it's going to be under moderate once the valve fully warms up.
Yeah, Howard was very smart in selecting out the patient away from the SMART trial in the original question you asked him, Roxana. So this patient would not be in the SMART trial, and he doesn't have to answer the second question. It's a non-evaluable question. Great answers.
Yeah,
that's why we call it the SMART trial.
But I think it's a crucial question, and John and I are eager to enroll patients for you. So sounds good.
Moreover, how important was predilation here? Because if you ended up in a high position in an unexpanded valve because you hadn't predilated, then we may have another difficult scenario to overcome.
George, can I just add one thing? You guys are discussing you guys are still not discussing the overlay. That's the point where the difference is. What we thought is a high deployment, not a high deployment, if you stay in the LAO projection. So don't get confused, and we all are trained and used to these high deployments or supposedly high deployments. In fact, I think what you've shown is very nicely that this is a correct deployment. What we earlier thought was a high deployment. If you stay at the LAO, then you know it is exactly what we need to do in order to achieve the pacemaker rate. So I think it's good. And Howie and you know, honestly, I don't think it needs to be post dilated.
Perfect.
But if you would, I would be on the pre-dilatation. Obviously, you know that I have a different opinion.
Simon, what's the rhythm?
I want to thank this incredible cath lab.
Yeah, just show the last angio. So we just did the aortogram.
You're going to show us the
Can we show
angio,
the
but
aortogram?
as you're showing the angio.
One final aortogram here, Dr. Sharma is going to show us. One final aortogram, and seems to be a small amount of PVL.
There is a little bit of a leak.
Perfect depth.
Excellent.
Of course it is perfect.
And the valve is in position exactly.
That just tells you high deployments are okay.
Congratulations. That was a great and very challenging case.
Very nice.
Challenging case, beautiful. I want to thank the incredible cath lab, Dr. Sharma, Dr. Kinney, your staff are amazing. Team you've assembled, the work that you do, the live case, and this incredible panel. And Howie Herman, Eberhard Grube, Saibal Carr, David Wood, Vina Tarani, Didier Cheche. Thank you, thank you, thank you.